I know everybody feels like it's Wednesday, but it's still only Monday. But your outlaw correspondent for High at 9 News is here once again with some of our prohibition stories. And this one is right here in our own backyard. The headline reads, CHP, 3 Santa Rosa men arrested after 50 pounds of illegal pot found in their vehicle. I really despise the word pot, but we'll get to that later. The men were initially pulled over after swerving over a solid white line on the roadway near Ukiah. 3 Santa Rosa men were arrested last week near Ukiah after authorities found about 50 pounds of illegal weed in their vehicle. The California Highway Patrol pulled over the blue H2 Hummer at about 11 p.m. Word to the wise, if you're driving up to Mendocino, do not drive in a brand new blue H2 Hummer. That usually makes you stick out a little bit, but we'll keep going. After seeing them swerve over a white line on the Highway 101 just north of State Street, the California Highway Patrol pulled them over. An officer spokesman later identified the men as Armenta, who showed signs of intoxication. Authorities searched the SUV and found cannabis without the required licensing or paperwork. Armenta and the 2 passengers, Jorge Lozano Castillas and Anthony Escudo Martinez, were arrested. The 3 men were booked into Mendocino County Jail on suspicion of transporting and having marijuana to sell without a license and conspiracy. Armenta was also suspected of driving under the influence. 3 were no longer in police custody as of Sunday afternoon. Listen, I've drove that 101. I know a lot of the people back in the day, us trappers that used to have to go up there and cop the packs. It's one way in, it's one way out. During this time of year right now, like October to like December, it is probably one of the most heavy, or it used to be. I don't know now because everything's different now since I've been out, but it used to be one of the most heavily policed highways in the country. I mean, you would literally drive down there and you would see people pulled over with highway patrol all the time driving back down. So, I didn't know this would still happen. I don't know like when the last time the Mendocino County Jail actually booked somebody in there for weed. That'd be an interesting fact to know. But listen, look, it's still happening. It is still happening. People are still going to jail. You still have to bail out. I know they weren't there by Sunday. It was probably a light bail, but this is still, now they're justice impacted. Now they got to go deal with all this stuff, fines and classes or whatever it is that Ukiah is going to make them do. Interesting to hear what the rest of the guys and gal has to say about this. Prohibition 101, still here in California, in the Emerald Triangle.
So Luke, I'm guessing that Mendocino County doesn't have a no bail policy.
Apparently not. Definitely said that they were booked and that they got out. It doesn't say what the amount of bail was.
I mean, it couldn't have been a lot.
No, I mean, even if it was it was illegal and unlicensed, I have that being like, some type of monetary fine and infraction, but
I don't see their bill being over 50,000. So that means that it would cost them $5,000 to bail out. I don't see it being over that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they would book them on like such minor infractions or misdemeanors. They might have, I guess maybe because the intoxication issue maybe made them feel like they had to do something. I don't know.
What was the date? Did it say the date they were arrested?
It did not, but it said they were out of jail by Sunday, so I would assume over the weekend.
Chris, I think you can elaborate on this. I mean, it might even possibly be the situation where these guys are under investigation for some whole other things, and this is just a portion of what they're being investigated for.
That's possible. The first thing I'd want to add is that, so likely how they got into the car was search incident to arrest or an inventory search of the vehicle. Are we all familiar with that? I can give a 10-second on that.
Please, Chris.
So anytime a vehicle is taken into police custody, whether it's towed because it's illegally parked, or in this case, likely in this case, I don't have the police report, but likely in this case, as a result of a DUI arrest, that car is impounded, there's an inventory search. And what law enforcement says the reason is to make sure that, all of your things are accounted for. So, there's nothing goes missing. But it is a tool that law enforcement will use to get inside a car and search a vehicle. And that's likely how they found it. Or Jay, to your point, I agree. They could have been, being investigated for something else or something similar. And this was, a pretext stop.
Yep. I mean,
so on Mendocino County website, they have the arrest log, and I mean, Jay, I think you'd find it interesting to pull it up. But they were booked on one of the folks was booked for transport over. It kind of cuts off, but transportation. It doesn't say anything about bail, so there's like limited info. But if you go to other people who are arrested, there's like the bail amount, how long they were in, when did they bail out, et cetera, et cetera. So not really sure.
Question then, Chris, because I have seen this happen to other people. Doesn't it generally mean that if they don't have all of that information in there, they could possibly be cooperating with law enforcement, and that's why that information's not in there?
It's one of many reasons. Also, you have to understand these are municipal employees, and I was one entering the data, right? And there's just like mistakes made too. So that's you're not wrong to think that could be a reason, but there could be a ton of reasons. And then the last point I would like to make, just in California, is field sobriety tests are roadside, are voluntary. They are not mandatory. The deal you make with the DMV when you get your license is this: when you're arrested and they have to arrest you, you shall submit to a chemical test. That's blood, breath, or urine. Typically not urine, so it's blood or breath. But the breathalyzer test, the PAS machine on the side of the road, that is voluntary. That is not required. The deal you make is with the DMV when you get your license, that once the handcuffs are on and you've been arrested for driving impaired or DUI, then you shall submit to a chemical test. And if you don't, the DMV, not the cops, will take away your license for up to a year.
What if you declare yourself a sovereign? Have you ever been approached by somebody who declared themselves a sovereign citizen?
Yeah, then you get your window broken, your ass beat extra, bro. Check YouTube for that.
I stopped somebody who I didn't write a lot of tickets, man. So like, I stopped somebody once who was claim, sovereign citizen and the whole nine. I'm not super familiar with it, but
traveling, bro. I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
They were getting a warning anyway, so I don't have like a good story about it.
Am I conducting commerce?
I love watching videos of those dudes just getting their windows broken and the shit beat out of them. It's like, bro, here's the deal. All courts are a legal fiction. They're an abstraction. However, they're an abstraction backed up by thousands of people with polyester suits and guns.
Yes.
Will fuck your shit up aggressively.
Yes.
It might not be real. It don't really matter when it comes right down to it. And I just want to add, too.
It looks cool on YouTube, though.
Oh, yeah. These dudes are guilty of violating one of the first laws of the game. Only break one law at a time, you guys.
Yeah.
You're running around with packs. Don't speed. Don't drink. Don't be smoking weed in the car. Right. Break one law at a time, as one of my favorite mentors told me. I'm sure anybody in the game for a minute knows that rule.
That's true.
If you break the law, don't break the law.
Yep.
I know Jay said that this could be like them cooperating, Chris, but Chris, could these guys have been like CIA black ops that are bringing the 50 pounds down to the UCC guys to fund them for arms, possibly?
There you go. It could. Luke, there you go.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
I mean, it could. Anything's possible.
Don't even
The world's
give
a
me
crazy
stories.
place.
Yeah, I like Jay's questions always lead to like the if it was the case, that would be a topic, right? But
Yep.
I don't know. It could just be. It just says bond number, no data. That's all it says in here.
Yeah, it sounds suspect to me. Very suspect.
And they're gone already. They went and disappeared them.
Exactly. They already released them. Exactly. Is there a receipt for what they paid in bond?
I'm looking.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Could have got a ward.
High time stock.
Yeah.
And on that note,